Hey everybody, I'm KK.
I'm Kristen.
Together we are
K&K Crochet.
Welcome back. And I don't know who would be shocked to find out that today is another video about a hat. It's kind of funny because hats are really have always been one of my least favorite things to make. Because I don't like the trying to size a hat for somebody. But I think the reason that I don't mind making them for BMO is because it doesn't matter what size they are because somebody will find a head that fits it, right? So, and because I finally figured out that the difference between a child size hat, like as in kindergarten age, and an adult hat is very few and far between. Like, literally, they can still wear them and, it'll be just a little bit big. So, I don't worry too much about it. So, anyway, today is about a hat that I've done in the past, but normally struggle when I do it, as in this is taking forever, why doesn't it hurry up and get finished? But this one was not like that, and I think it's because of the yarn, and I'll have Kristen show you the yarn first. This was a donation from Dr. Katrina at Mindful Crafts and More, and so it's Sweet Roll Fruits, and this colorway by Premier. And this colorway is
Plum.
Okay, and then show how it's supposed to work up if you do it side to side. So for a blanket,
I think that's knit. Yeah, it's knit. You can knit with it.
Yeah, and so a lot of times with this yarn,
no,
you drop it on the floor. No, you don't.
Don't do
that.
A
lot of times with this yarn, you'll see it knit up, and when you see it knit, it's a beautiful fabric.
So gorgeous.
It is so gorgeous. It makes just it's kind of like when they use the bloom yarn, how it makes the flowers. Well, with this one, we have a watermelon one that has the seeds, and when you knit it up, it is the most gorgeous hat. But the only problem with that is I don't knit. Now, Kristen does, but she's learning. So, I decided I would crochet, but I had an idea because I tried to crochet with some of it before, and I just didn't like the way it looked with my tension and the hook I was using. And I probably could have changed that and it would have been fine. I'm sitting here playing with the hat. I know I need to show you, but this hat feels so good. But let me show you and then I'll finish talking. So here's the hat. I absolutely adore it. I mean, love, love, love this hat. I wish you could feel it. It feels like butter. That's all I can say. It feels like butter. It is gorgeous. There's the top. So this is the generic, I call it the side-to-side hat. It's basically you working a rectangle. So for those who say, I can't make a hat, I don't know how to make a hat, I have trouble making a hat, or I don't understand the patterns, this right here is your hat. Right here. Very simple. This was a rectangle. It is half double crochet in the back loop. That's all. Back and forth, back and forth. Now, there are 20 million tutorials on YouTube for this hat. Like, I'm not even kidding. There are so many. So, and I don't do tutorials. So, I'm just explaining the process of what I did. Because I've made this hat before a couple of times, I did not watch a tutorial again. I know the process. I know the basics. I just did it. So, I chained as much as I thought it needed to be. I wanted to have a deeper brim. Most of them, when I crochet what they say to crochet, the length of the chain, my brim does not turn out to be as big as I want it. And even with this one, it could have been a little bit bigger, but that's okay. So, you chain enough that you think it should be with the brim. And all the videos will tell you how much that needs to be. They'll give you an inch dimension, a measurement. I'm not going to tell you that because it's up to you and how big you want it to be. But go watch if you've never done one. Just search up crochet side to side beanie and you'll get this, or half double crochet in the back loop beanie or whatever. And when they tell you to do that, then you'll just go back and forth like that and make the rectangle. And then when you're finished, the only thing you're going to do is you're going to seam up the side and then stitch together your top. Now, see this top? See how it's kind of flat? I mean, yes, it has a little bit of bulk there, but not like a lot that I've seen. Like, even on the Centro and Addy beanies, when you see them stitched together, a lot of times you'll see a lot of bulk up in this area. There's a reason this is not like that. And this, again, is not me. This is something I picked up along the way in a pattern. Have you ever stopped to notice that you have your own library of techniques, tips, tricks, stitches in your head that you have picked up along the way as you crochet, and they just become ingrained, and you can't remember where you got them from, but you know you did. Just like Dr. K that sent me this, Dr. Katrina, when she was talking to me the other day about finishing joining for the next round for a hat, talked about how you take your hook out and pull from the back and pull the stitch through into the next stitch so that it doesn't leave such a bump, a ridge there. And I knew about that a long time ago. I don't know where I learned it, somewhere in somebody's tutorial, but I had forgotten about it. So thank you for that. But this, so the trick to this right here, for not having this big bunchy part up here, like this is almost flat. There's a little bit. Of course, these are ridges right here from where you work the half double crochet in the third loop. But the reason there's not a big bump up here is because when you're working side to side, this is the bottom. Unroll it. So this is the bottom of your rectangle, and you're working back up to this end of the rectangle, and you're going to the top. On the same side every time, when you get to this side, the last 5 stitches are single crochets. And then you chain 1 and turn, and the first 5 stitches are single crochets in the back loop still. And then you go down and do the rest in half double. So that would be just a flat rectangle. When I finished, I made sure to finish so that it did not disturb the pattern. What I mean by that is that when I finished, I had one of the rows that looks flat and one that looks bumpy like that. I don't know if you can see that, how the pattern goes. It makes the ridge pattern. So I had it so that it didn't disrupt it. So I didn't stop, like if I began with this flat part right here, I didn't stop with another flat panel. I stopped where I had this ridge, so it made the panel the same. Those are not the right words, I'm sure. But anyway, so you can't really tell where it was seamed at all. There's not a, when you go through. And I just slip stitched the seam together. And so that way I slip stitched so that when I did that, I slip stitched so that when I came back up, I would be at the top of the hat and wouldn't have to have a separate piece of yarn up here. And then I went through the different stitches and just cinched the end of the rectangle together. And that's all there is to it. Now this always takes me forever. Have you made one of these before?
I have, and it took forever.
Yeah, because I think when she came home and saw this, she was like, oh, how long did it take you to do that? It did take a little while, but not as much as it normally does. I used a J-hook, which has been my norm lately for hats. And I think that's one of the reasons it didn't take so long. Another reason is this Premier yarn. This yarn is the only yarn I've ever used to make this hat that felt like it was just a joy to work with. It was a joy to and I never say that about this hat because it is monotonous. It's the same stitch over and over the whole way. And when you watch the videos, they'll also tell you how long to make, like how wide it is for your panel and then how many rows to go or how the length of the rows to make it. And I think I went to about 17 or 17 and a half inches. I did look that up what the normal was because your hat's going to stretch. So whatever the circumference of your head is, like if it's 21 or 23, you don't want to go that far because your hat will be too big because it's going to stretch. Look at that. Look how much stretch that has. That's so awesome. I just love this hat. I wish you could feel it. It is the most beautiful feeling. This yarn is soft, but it's warm. And I just really, really love it. I enjoyed working with this so much. Thank you, Dr. Katrina, for sending me this. I really appreciate this yarn so much. Look at that. That's gorgeous. It almost looks like a watercolor, like a paintbrush that somebody has taken and gone because of the different colors coming together. And when I crocheted in the round, I just couldn't get it to look the way I wanted it to. But this I really, really love. And it matches a multitude of things, right? And so I think I'm going to try this. I have some other colorways she sent, and I'm curious what they look like. One of the reasons that I did it this way is because I wanted to see how they look when they work up. So this is the colorway Plum, and I have some, one of the other things I was going to tell you is how much I use. So I thought I had 2 balls of this, 2 skeins, whatever, 2 rolls. I thought, oh, it'll take both of them. And then at one point I thought, it may not be enough because this is, kind of a little bit of a yarn eater going back and forth like that. But this is what I had left out of one. So I still have enough that I could make a pom-pom, which I'm not going to. Or, I could do something small with that. But I still have one whole cake. So it doesn't take a lot. That's what, 350 yards? Is that what it says?
174.
107. Nuh-uh. Oh, I don't know where. 3.5 ounces, 174 yards. And I got a hat out of it. And I got a little left over. So I'll put it on to show you. You all know I don't wear hats at all. But I will put it on to show you that it does fit. It fits fine. 174 yards. And I got this one out of it. And a little bit left over. And so what I will tell you, though, is just be careful when you're doing... when you're coming down and you're making this very last stitch on the end that is a half double crochet, make sure that you're not tightening that one up as you go into the next stitch, because you're putting that one in, chaining one and turning and going back down in it. And sometimes it's hard to find that back loop because you're in that situation where you're working around, trying to get back down in there, and it can make that stitch on the last row before it tighter. And I did have a problem with that at first, but I think it's stretched now. It wasn't too tight, but it wasn't like I like it. So I like the way it turned out. I really do. A whole lot. So let me know if you've made these kind of hats, if you've made with this kind of yarn. And it feels so good. I mean, it feels good. I don't wear hats, but I really like this one. This is not for me, of course. This is BMO. But, yeah, that's another one for BMO. And yeah. So anyway, I really like the hat. I really love the yarn. Go check out this yarn and see what you think about it. There are lots of colorways. There's a watermelon. I think there's a lemon. I don't know what all. There's a whole bunch.
Blueberry.
Key
There's
lime.
dragon fruit.
Yeah. Kristen's used the dragon fruit, I think, on the Centro to make hats. And this does make a beautiful Centro hat, but Addie. But I don't do that. So, and I don't knit. It makes a gorgeous knit hat too. But there you go. I think it's beautiful. I would call this a watercolor hat. I love it. So there you go. That's all we have today. So don't forget to be kind because
On anybody else's journey.
bye.
Bye, guys.